Hello everyone, what's up? Welcome back to another video, and of course this week it is the international break. I know, it is quite sad, but however I've got a bit of an international themed video today, so quite excited for it. So I'm going to be going through like making my 20-man England squad using one player from every Premier League club. So this is going to be quite a fun one because every club represented, and there's a few interesting takes in here, so I'm quite excited to tell it to all of you. And of course, put your ones down in the comments. I'd like to see them. If you're excited for the video, make sure you like, subscribe, ring the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Now, let's get into it. Alright, so before I get into the video, my team picks and everything, I do just have to say, I think it's a great idea, but it is not one of my own. Alex Barty over on TikTok came up with this one, and I think lots of his video ideas are really good, and I just thought I'd give this one a go. So yeah, fair play, pretty good one. So, starting with my goalkeepers, I'm going to go with two for this 20-man squad. And firstly, I think this is one of the easiest picks of the whole team. Jordan Pickford for Everton. Yeah, 11 clean sheets this season. Pretty good stats. England's number one for however many years. Yeah, it's a great shot stopper, so I feel like he has to be on here. But still some honourable mentions. I have to go to the likes of Kieran Dewsbury-Hall and James Garner as well, who I think have been solid players for Everton this season. But no, I can't look past Jordan Pickford for me. My second one, I'm going to go with Dean Henderson from Palace. And I would think maybe some people are going to maybe want to use that Palace spot for a bit more quality outfield like an Adam Wharton. And I get that, but I just still think it's important to have a second solid goalkeeper there. And Dean Henderson definitely gives you that. So, yeah, I really think he's a solid goalkeeper as well, and comfortably have him as England's number 2 choice for goalkeeper. 10 clean sheets this season, some really solid stats. Now let's go into the fullbacks. And firstly, a player who I've really rated this season and I'm a massive fan of, and that's Lewis Hall for Newcastle. Just really think his ability is really good, and just some of his old style of playing I think is really impressive, and just think he's got some great passing range. Just a goal and the assist this season, but still brilliant attacking threat and also pretty good defensively as well. For me, I would probably start him, if we're just talking about the normal England squad, I would actually probably start him over O'Reilly at the World Cup. But that's a bit of a debate, and we'll see what form they're in come June. But yeah, I think he had to be in there for my Newcastle pick. And then the second one, my main right back, I'm going to have Reece James. And I was a bit in two minds, should I have Reece James or not? But I thought, just based on should I do players who are fully fit right now or just whoever I think are the best players. And I thought it'd be a little bit unfair not to include Reece James on this because he is one of the best right backs in the world, really, when he's fit. So, yeah, I wasn't going to look past him. And really, you've got Cole Palmer, but I think right now, when he's fully fit, you can't really look past Reece James for that Chelsea spot. A really great right back. And then my third fullback, I'm actually going to take Keane Lewis-Potter of Brentford, who's a bit versatile, which I think is quite useful in this team. And so again, I think he's been a solid player for Brentford this season. I really think Brentford have played some great football this season. And yeah, I think Lewis-Potter's a big part of it. Good attacking threat and also pretty decent in the defence as well. So yeah, I thought good to have a more versatile player. So that's why I was also debating a bit over maybe having a Tino Livramento in there, or maybe even a Jed Spence. But yeah, if I hadn't have included Reece James in here, I would have put Jed Spence in the fullbacks instead, but I just thought, no, let's do it based on when they're at full fitness, not on like what the status is currently. Alright, now for my centre backs, and my first one is going to be Marc Guéhi from Man City. I think it was a solid signing for City in January, and I rated him for quite a while. I think he's a solid defender who is really good to have there, bit of a threat for the attackers, not great for them to face. And yeah, I think being solid for Man City, and yeah, probably the best choice for them. I know I mentioned him earlier, you could have had O'Reilly in the left back position, but for me, I just slightly prefer Lewis Hall, and I just think it's good to have Guéhi in there for the centre backs. They've got Phil Foden as well, but I think if we're talking about current form, got to be Guéhi there. And my second one, I am going to be using up my Manchester United slot for Harry Maguire. Yeah, could have gone with Kobbie Mainoo there, who I think has looked quite good under Carrick, but Maguire, really good aerial threat. Also got some good experience on him as well for England, so I do think he's worth taking for that second pick there in the centre-back positions, because I do actually think he's a solid defender, to be honest. So, yeah, I'm going to have him in there. And then my third pick is going to be Joe Worrall from Burnley. Yeah, I know. Yeah, this is my most random pick of the whole thing, really. I know maybe for Burnley you could have had maybe a Jaden Anthony, someone like that who's got a bit of potential. He'll be quite a good player in the future. But I just thought there's a few like more high potential players I've got coming up in the more attacking roles. So I thought let's just have Joe Worrall here. You know, he's played for Forest. He's been quite a decent player over the years. So I think he's worth having in here. But yeah, not really a player I'd be planning to start, to be honest. And there you go, there my three centre backs. Now for my midfielders, and my first one, a bit of a debatable one, but I have taken Declan Rice for Arsenal. Some people may bring Saka in there instead, but yeah, I just think if we're going off a bit recent form, Saka's just looked a bit out of confidence for me recently, so I think Declan Rice has got to take over at him. I think in the World Cup in real life, aside from this team, Declan Rice is going to be a real pivotal player for England in that squad, and yeah, I just thought probably going to take him over Saka, to be honest. And next up, we've got Alex Scott from Bournemouth. Now, this is a player who I really think should have been put in that 35-man squad for the March international break. And really, if you're not getting picked in that squad, and like you can play, it does look unlikely that you're going to be there in the summer. So it's a shame, but I really rate it. I think he's been quite a good player for Bournemouth this season, and definitely think he deserves that spot. There's a few players in there, like maybe a Jordan Henderson. Do we really need him when you've got the experience from the likes of Harry Kane already and players like that? So yeah, I was not too certain about that in terms of the real life England squad. So, but yeah, for this, I think he's probably the best Bournemouth pick. And then next up, Archie Gray from Tottenham. Now, this was between Archie Gray and Jed Spence, but as I said earlier, I did have Jed Spence in this for quite a while, but then I thought, no, let's have Reece James instead. Let's not do it based off of current fitness. So that meant probably had to bring Archie Gray in. And to be fair, 2 goals, 2 assists this season for Tottenham. And to be fair, as with all the players, he has shown quite a good bit of fight for Tottenham this season, which I do respect. I do really think he's a decent little player. So yeah, that is why I've still brought him in. Next up, a more younger attacking midfielder, Josh King for Fulham. Yeah, I actually think he's a decent player, 19 years old. I think he's showing some really good potential and will be a great player, probably for England in the future. But yeah, I thought I'd take him for England, for Fulham. I mean, I don't think there's too many options, to be honest. So yeah, I think he's a decent little player to have in there. And next up, a more defensive midfielder, Elliot Anderson for Forest. And again, maybe would it be a better fit maybe to have Morgan Gibbs White? I was debating it a bit, and I do actually think Gibbs White should have again been included in that England squad for the March friendlies. But yeah, in this, I'm just going to favour the player I prefer, who is Elliot Anderson, who I just think is slightly better and has slightly more quality to his game, to be honest. So that's why I've just gone him over Gibbs White, who, look, he scored 9 goals, Gibbs White, this season, but 2 goals to assist for Anderson, and overall really good to have in that position. So yeah, I've just favoured him over Gibbs White, but a bit of a toss up there, and I really don't mind if you had Gibbs White there instead, to be honest. And then lastly, probably the player I'm gonna play in that 10 role. Could have played him on the wing, but yeah, would play him in the 10 if this was real. Morgan Rogers for Villa. Yeah, I think maybe regressed slightly over the past few weeks, months, but the sort of period he had over the winter was incredible. He is really an excellent player and one of the most promising players England got for the World Cup. 8 goals and 5 assists this season, really solid stats. And yeah, and you do get that versatility where you can play on the wing or in the middle. And yeah, I just really think great player to have, and probably had to be my Villa pick, to be honest. Just overall best player there for England. Now for my forwards, I'll split this up into wingers, then I'll say the 2 strikers I'm bringing. So 4 wingers here. Firstly, we've got a few younger ones here. So Matheus Mane for Wolves. Again, debated maybe to have Johnstone in there as the second keeper. But no, Mane, I think he's shown some great potential in a Wolves side, of course, like recently at least. Haven't had a great deal to play for. It looks like they're probably as good as down, really. But still, they've been showing some good fight recently. I do think Matheus Mane looks like a pretty solid winger for the future, maybe. Yeah, a promising young player I do think we've got there. And then next up, I am actually going to go with Rio Ngamoa for Liverpool. Now, I think this is maybe a bit of a controversial take. Could you have like a Curtis Jones in there maybe? But I really like Rio and I think he's a great player. Again, I say this a bit. Of course, this doesn't mean anything really, but I do quite like having him in my FIFA career modes. And I know, probably, he's not played a great deal. I've started much for Liverpool or anything, but still, I really think he's a solid, exciting young player who, when he comes on in Liverpool's attack, looks really good. And, you know, he got that winner against Newcastle in August. Yeah, I think he's a solid player. Maybe a bit controversial, but yeah, I thought I'd have him in here. And also we've got Jarrod Bowen from West Ham. I think this is a pretty easy pick, to be honest. I don't really know who else you're going to have from West Ham based on current form. Jarrod Bowen just really got to be in there. I don't really think I've got to go into that too much. Pretty easy pick. And then another one who coincidentally I have also signed on career mode before is Chris Rigg for Sunderland. Played that Tyneham Weir derby on Sunday. Thought he was quite decent in that. Of course, great for him, local lad, having that experience. And yeah, I do really think he's a promising young winger, to be honest, like a Matheus Mane or like a Rio Ngamoa. But yeah, I thought I'd have him in it. Maybe not a great amount of experience in those wingers, but still, I really think they've got some solid ones in there. I did actually see on Alex Barty's TikTok of this, he actually had Simon Moore as a goalkeeper. Maybe a bit better to use that one of the more random picks up for the goalkeeper and just trust that Pickford doesn't get injured, but still, I thought I'd use Sunderland up for Chris Rick. I do think it's a solid player. Now on to my two strikers. And if you've got a really good memory or been keeping track of the teams I've used up so far, you'll probably know what teams I've got left and then probably be able to work out who the two strikers I'm bringing are. And my first one, a player who I really think should have been brought to that England team for the March friendlies, and that is Danny Welbeck from Brighton. Yeah, great experience for a player, former Watford player. Do like to point out it was only for like a season, but still, he's a former Watford player. You can't take that away. 12 goals this season. I think been quite impressed with him this season, and I definitely think it was worth being in that 35-man squad. And when you think Harry Kane, probably not going to start over him, but still, in here he probably would start because Harry Kane doesn't play for a Premier League club, so he's not being included. So, yeah, I definitely think I'd have him in there, to be honest. And I've got him in here as probably my starting striker. And my second one is someone who has been taken to the squad for the March friendlies, and that is my lead slot. And I'm taking that up with Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who, really, for the most part of this season, I've been really impressed with. He's still shown that he's got a decent goal scoring ability, and maybe Leeds are going to find themselves in a bit of a relegation battle, but I actually don't think they'll be in too much trouble. I think, is it 4 points off now? So I think they'll be okay, and I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin is a really solid goal scorer for them. They're good to have a player with Premier League experience in that for a squad who want to set up in their first season, because once they've had that first season, I do think it will be a lot easier for them to start next season, and they'll solidify themselves once again as a Premier League staple. But yeah, 10 goals this season for Dominic Calvert-Lewin, a really solid player, and I think he had to be in this squad. And that concludes the video. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. Pretty interesting, a few of those picks there. Maybe they don't disagree with a few of those, like maybe they want to have not use Dean Henderson and use Palace for an Adam Wharton or something. Something like that. I'd like to hear your opinions. Yeah, really interested to find out. I just do really think this is a little bit of a fun one. And yeah, video ideas, if you've got any, please let me know. I'd definitely love to hear them. And yeah, as I said at the start of the video, like, subscribe, all of that. And one thing left to say, bye and peace.